Why would someone who had everything choose to walk away from it all? This question sits at the heart of one of history's most enduring stories. Before he became the Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama lived a life surrounded by comfort, protection, and privilege. He was not born into struggle. He was born into abundance, and yet it was precisely this abundance that pushed him to search for something deeper. Siddhartha was raised inside palace walls, designed to keep suffering out of sight. His days were filled with music, beauty, fine clothing, and carefully planned happiness. Anything that hinted at painaging illness, death was removed before it could reach him. From the outside, his life looked perfect. But perfection, when it is fragile, creates its own quiet tension. Even surrounded by pleasure, Siddhartha sensed that something essential was missing. The truth he had not yet seen was simple but unsettling. Comfort does not answer life's hardest questions. It only delays them. When Siddhartha finally left the palace and encountered old age, sickness, and death, the shock was not just emotional, it was existential. For the first time, he understood that everything he loved, everything he relied on, was temporary. Wealth could not stop the body from aging. Power could not protect anyone from illness, and status could not negotiate with death. These realizations shattered the illusion that safety could be built on external conditions. But it was not despair that drove Siddhartha to leave everything behind. It was clarity. Among the sights he encountered, one stood apart, a wandering ascetic, calm and unburdened, owning almost nothing, yet appearing deeply at peace. This figure revealed a possibility Siddhartha had never considered, that freedom might come not from controlling life, but from understanding it. That peace might not be found in accumulation, but in insight. Siddhartha began to see that his palace was not a sanctuary. It was a shelter from reality, and a life spent avoiding reality, no matter how pleasant, could never lead to truth. Giving up everything was not an act of rejection. It was an act of honesty. Siddhartha did not leave because he hated his life. He left because he refused to live in denial. He understood that clinging to comfort would not spare him or anyone else from suffering. If suffering was universal, then avoiding it was not wisdom. Facing it was. This decision came at great personal cost. He left behind his family, his future as a ruler, and the identity that had defined him since birth. But the question Siddhartha faced is one many people still face today, in quieter ways. Do we choose what feels safe or what feels true? Siddhartha chose truth. His journey was not about rejecting the world, but about understanding it without illusion. He sought answers to the most human questions. Why do we suffer? Why does happiness fade? Is there a way to live without being controlled by fear, desire, and loss? These questions were not religious. They were deeply psychological and universal. In leaving everything behind, Siddhartha was not escaping responsibility. He was embracing a greater one, the responsibility to understand life as it is, not as we wish it to be. His search was not for divine favor or supernatural reward, but for insight into the human condition. This is why his story continues to resonate across cultures and centuries. It is not about renunciation for its own sake. It is about the courage to let go of illusions. It is about the willingness to sit with discomfort long enough to discover something real. Siddhartha's choice challenges us gently, not with commands, but with a question. What are we holding on to that keeps us from seeing clearly? What comforts protect us from pain, but also from truth? Thank you for watching and spending this time reflecting with us. If this story gave you something to think about, take that reflection with you into your own life. I appreciate you being here, and I look forward to sharing the next story with you.